Hey, one of the things that we talked about when moving down to Fort Lauderdale was where are we going to live? And Suzanne came up and she basically said, we need to know where we're going to live. We need to know what the neighborhoods look like. We need to know what the neighborhoods are like. She made it very, very clear, abundantly clear.
Yeah, it was obvious. I mean, I didn't want to move to the wrong place. I said there was no way I was going to do it a couple of different times. And I said, if we are going to move, we need to check things out and we need to make sure that we're moving to the correct place. We've done it in the past where we've moved to the wrong place. And I wasn't going to go through that again, were we?
Nope. And I'll bet a lot of you are thinking the exact same thing. So today we're going to visit the top 5 neighborhoods in Fort Lauderdale.
And we've got a surprise for you, and they're going to be great.
So let's get to it. I'm Kev.
And I'm Suze.
And welcome to our channel, Living in Fort Lauderdale with Kev and Suze. So if you wanted to know what it's like to live, work, play, eat, sleep, drink, basically do anything in and around Fort Lauderdale, we are the channel to hit. So just let us know, hit us up. You can give us a call. We do answer our phone. We respond to our texts, okay?
You can text us, you can email, slip into our download, and also make sure you comment, and we will get back to you.
Exactly. And don't forget to hit that little bell so that you get notified every time we drop a video.
Yeah, this way it helps people like yourself find out what's going on in Fort Lauderdale.
So let's get to it. First and foremost, why are these communities on the list?
Yeah, and
basically, and why are we looking at these folks?
And what's the budget?
Exactly. Well, the first thing is basically what's your budget? So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Now, some of the neighborhoods we're going to look at today are going to be more expensive than others. Some of them are going to be a little less expensive. Some of them are going to have single-family homes. Some of them are going to have single-family homes, townhomes, condos. Some will have villas. Some may just be predominantly condos. So basically, we need to look at that from the standpoint of, what's your budget? And your budget is going to kind of determine not only where you're going to live, but possibly where you're going to be living and what you're going to be living in.
Right, and what's your lifestyle?
Exactly. So, and don't worry, there are definitely some great homes out there for the budget conscious, as well as for those where budget is not a primary issue.
So we're going to address both of those.
Exactly. So
and
now,
a little in between.
And a little bit in between. So the next thing is that, so what kind of lifestyle are you looking for? Are you looking for something that's going to be in an established community, an established neighborhood that has a lot of different things that make up the neighborhood, that have families, young folks, folks that are retirees, a little bit of everything. Okay. Are you looking for something that's on the water? Something close to that's close to dining and entertainment. So what are we looking for here? A couple of those also.
So we're going to look at all these different opportunities here.
And then also the other thing is that what kind of amenities are you looking for? For some folks, basically what they're looking for is a nice place to kind of hang out, and everything's around the house. They have a pool, got exercise facility, everything is right there. Other folks that'd be looking for a condo where they can kind of meet and greet other folks close to the dining, close to entertainment, close to the water.
Arts, sure.
Exactly. Now, and some folks, let's face it, Fort Lauderdale is the Venice of America, and there's pretty much water everywhere. So, and there's a lot of opportunities down here for folks who are looking to come down and be part of a boating community. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get started on the neighborhoods.
And we're going to do a deep dive, so stay tuned.
Established in the early 1900s, Victoria Park evokes the charm of old Florida homes. It's one of the most easily recognizable neighborhoods in the eastern part of the city. It's mostly due to its historical, all the historical relevance and historical preference. It's bordered by Broward and Sunrise Boulevards, the Isles of Las Olas, and of course the Intercoastal Waterway. So the Middle River and Federal Highway also help form the boundaries. Victoria Park is about a mile from Fort Lauderdale Beach. Okay, it's a short walk from downtown. Okay, now, one of the things that we really like about we love about Victoria Park. We've been down here a number of times, and we've looked around, and basically, it's everything that they have to offer. I mean, we're sitting here in one of the parks, one of the many parks in Victoria Park. You have Holiday Park, which has a dog park in it. It has a playground. It has the playhouse. It has the War Memorial. All kinds of stuff that are all kinds of things down here in Victoria Park that make it so that folks really, with the exception of maybe going outside to a restaurant or anything else, anything that they want to do during the day or on the weekend, it's all here for them. You can take a walk along the New River. You can take a walk along the Intercoastal. There's some beautiful old world homes here that were built in the early 1900s that have been restored to almost their Victorian type original look. There are also some new homes that have been built up where the folks have just come in. They basically tore everything down and rebuilt something up that's in their own likeness. And again, those are the kind of things that really, it's just such a mixture of kind of the old world charm and kind of the new stuff, all combined with your proximity to downtown Fort Lauderdale and Las Olas. I mean, you're easily on the south side of Victoria Park. You're easily just a walk to Coley Hammock and over to Las Olas. Okay, on the west side of Victoria Park, you're right up against Federal Highway and all the shops and the restaurants and all the dining that goes on there. Okay. You're on the east side, you're up against the Intercoastal Waterway and everything that runs up and down there and all the great waterfront places there. So there's just tons and tons of things to do in Victoria Park that make it actually one of the most easily recognizable and probably one of the most sought after communities here in Fort Lauderdale. So typically you'll find homes around Victoria Park, and actually Victoria Park does have a nice mixture of condos, townhomes, villas, and single-family homes, and surprisingly, there is a lot of affordability still here in Victoria Park. Some of the condos you're looking in the 170s, 180s to the low 200s. You can find townhomes in the mid 3s and on up. You can find villas in the low to mid 3s and on up. And single-family homes, basically, they run the gamut, everything from 5 to 600,000, all the way up to 10 plus million, depending upon just depending upon where it is and depending upon how big it is and when it was built and the amenities that go along with it. But one of the things that is very, very prevalent here in Victoria Park is, regardless of when you're out there, day of the week, time of day, there are folks walking around. They're very, very friendly. They're very, very cheerful. They welcome you to their neighborhood. Again, one of the many things that makes Victoria Park such a highly sought after neighborhood here in Fort Lauderdale. Down in Coley Hammock, as you can see, it's we're actually experiencing some of this wonderful Fort Lauderdale traffic here on a Sunday. But one of the things about Coley and Coley Hammock, actually a funny story about that. We were showing some folks some property here a little while ago, and one of their sons said, "So, Daddy, when are we going to see the hammock?" So the father looked at me. He just kind of shrugged his shoulders and looked at me, and I had to explain to him that as it relates to Coley Hammock, the hammock is actually meant to be kind of a hump on the ground, which is actually how the area got its name. But one of the things that to us is so cool, I guess the coolest thing we can say about one of the coolest things we can say about Coley is that in a relatively new area like Fort Lauderdale, which has really only been around since probably the late 1800s, really, since they started, early 1900s, since they started trying to bridge the gap between West Palm Beach and Miami from a railroad perspective. But one of the cool things is that Coley can actually trace its roots back to about 1794. So it's actually one of the oldest cities here in South Florida, and it's certainly the oldest city in Fort Lauderdale. So and it's home to a very, very mixed, very eclectic group of residents and houses. And it's I think a lot of it comes from two things. Number one is that it's actually between Victoria Park, which is one of the most well-known neighborhoods here in Fort Lauderdale, and Las Olas Boulevard, and the neighborhoods that come off of Las Olas, Beverly Heights, Rio Vista area, even the Las Olas Isles down around there. So it's kind of shoehorned into all these things, all these little areas, each having their own kind of their own vibe, if you will, about them, or their own view about them. And it's really kind of a neat thing that they have going on. But I mean, as you can see from around here, we're just walking around. We are literally right off of Las Olas Boulevard. So from Coley Hammock here, we can walk to famous Las Olas Boulevards. We can walk to all the arts and the restaurants and the dining and the entertainment here in Las Olas. But you're far enough away from it to where you don't really hear it and you don't really see what's going on. So you know, you can go out and enjoy whatever you want, okay? Then kind of come back to your own little oasis, if you will, here in Coley. Because it's been around for so long, as you can see, there's been a lot of construction that's gone on. Some of the things you can see from behind us here, and the folks just built up their homes. Let's see if we can take a little trot up this aisle here. This little narrow thing, narrow passage up through here. But one of the things you'll see is that it's a really good mix of some of the old and some of the new. You can find homes here that are still, you know, in the mid 500, 600 to 700,000 for the single-family homes. Some of the condos that form around the ridge, the kind of the edge of Coley Hammock. Some of those are actually very reasonable, in the $180,000 to $220,000 range. And then of course you'll find some of the bigger homes here, the single-family homes that have been rebuilt and redone from the ground up, and some of those run upwards of 5, 6, 7. I've even seen some that have gone for as high as $10.2 million. So it's a very, very fun place to be because of its proximity to Las Olas. It's also a very interesting place to be because of its proximity to Las Olas and its proximity to Victoria Park. So there's a nice mixture of different lifestyles here. Some folks are very conservative, some folks are more liberal, which actually in this particular area, it works real well. They all seem to get together real well. We've known a number of folks that live down here, and they absolutely love it. They wouldn't trade it for anything. So it's easy to see by just walking around and seeing how relaxing and how nice it is. It's easy to see why Coley is perennially on the list of top 5 neighborhoods here in Fort Lauderdale. So Beverly Heights is basically the start of the shopping and entertainment district here in Fort Lauderdale off of Las Olas Boulevard. It's uniquely positioned because it's on the south side of Las Olas Boulevard, but it also straddles Federal Highway. So great little neighborhood. There's about 434 homes here. So I mean, it may be small in stature, but it's very, very big in amenities and everything else that's going on here. So it's a very affordable, very walkable neighborhood. Okay, probably one of the most attractive things to us about it is basically where we are right now, down here at the Riverwalk. So Beverly Heights is it's an up-and-coming neighborhood. It's great proximity to downtown Fort Lauderdale. I mean, it's walking distance to Fort Lauderdale and the downtown areas. It's kind of set in the middle of everything. It's a little bit of everything for everybody. As I said, it's an up-and-coming area for folks that are looking to be in the proximity of downtown for work or for entertainment or for play. But there's a lot of playing that you can do right here on the Riverwalk, just off of the new river. As you can see in the background, there's a lot of boats that will basically dock here and moor here. It's the location, the proximity to everything make it one of the top neighborhoods here in Fort Lauderdale. Is that it's the unofficial start of the Fort Lauderdale St. Patrick's Day Parade, which goes all the way down to Las Olas Boulevard, starts up here in Beverly Heights at the center of downtown, and goes all the way down Las Olas Boulevard and ends at the end of Las Olas Boulevard at Las Olas Beach. So the other thing that is very, very significant, at least to us from the standpoint of historical, is it's home of the Stranahan House. So it's a wonderful museum that's packed with all kinds of interesting facts and information about Fort Lauderdale and about its origins and how it began. So something definitely worth visiting when you're down here. Vista and Rio Vista Isles, considered one of the best neighborhoods in Broward County. It's actually number 1 for young professionals in Fort Lauderdale, number 4 for best neighborhoods to live, and number 4 to raise a family here in Fort Lauderdale. So it's home to the Lauderdale Yacht Club, which makes it famous in its own right here. We're just kind of walking down through the neighborhood here in Rio Vista, and it's located east of Federal Highway and south of the New River, and it gives basically great access to the ocean with no fixed bridges, which basically means that the only bridge you got to go through is the drawbridge, which allows the bigger boats and the bigger crafts around here to be able to come through and get into and out of this area. A very, very big plus, a big bonus for here in Rio Vista and here in Fort Lauderdale in and of itself. So but one of the things that we like the most is we like the parks. It's not a huge neighborhood. It's got Victoria Young and Hector Parks. Okay, there's a great restaurant down here just on the other side of Federal Highway, which is Kelly's Landing. 15th Street Fisheries. If you're into seafood like we are, some great restaurants down here. As I said, Kelly's Landing, Southport Raw Bar, 15th Street Fisheries, the Boatyard. Okay. The other thing is that properties in here, they're predominantly single-family homes, as you can see. They start at around $1 million, and they go up from there. Some of the ones that have not been renovated yet come in below $1 million, but an average is about $1 million for the single-family homes. You can find a couple of condo complexes and some townhomes here on the fringe of Rio Vista, but you can tell by looking around, it's just a very beautiful neighborhood, very beautiful area. Folks down here, about 70% of the residents here own their own home. So it's not an area that's very transient, which actually again adds to some of the appeal and some of the allure of the entire area. One of the neighborhoods that continually comes up in the top 5 neighborhoods in Fort Lauderdale is Tarpon River. It's a small 1 square mile neighborhood located north of Davie Boulevard and west of Andrews Avenue near downtown. That's probably one of the things that makes it so attractive and makes it so popular, is its proximity to downtown. As I said, it's a 1 square mile neighborhood, so it's a small neighborhood, but there's a lot of stuff packed in here. The neighborhood itself was built back in the mid to late 50s. And so what we've seen here is a lot of multi-generational folks who are living in the houses that they grew up in. Their parents bought in, they lived here, they grew up here, their parents willed the house to them. And that's one of the things that makes it, again, one of the most popular neighborhoods down here in Fort Lauderdale.
Now, look at these. These are very nice.
So, and it's the nice thing about it is one of the very, very nice things about it, additionally, is it's an established neighborhood. As I said, it was originally built back in the mid to late 50s. You can still see some of the remnants in some of the homes here that you can take a look around and see what you basically see. They are the homes that were built back in the 1950s that are built. Some of them many of them have had things added to them, obviously. Okay.
And they've had some upgrades. So, Kevin, what would you say the price point would be here?
Actually, Suze, that's a good question. The price point in Tarpon Springs is pretty much all over the map. I mean, what you're looking at is homes that can be as starting in the mid to low 4s, and they can go up depending upon the location of the home, as far as the proximity to downtown, to the central business district. Okay, they could be going upwards of over $1 million. What we're seeing is a lot of homes that are actually now being completely renovated. They're just keeping the foundation itself, and you see a lot of, like, for example, the one coming up here on our right hand side. And in some cases they're turning them into duplexes, which benefits a lot of folks because it is a very popular area to want to be in. Most of the homes are single stories, as you can see, but the newer ones have been made into multiple story homes. As I said, the value is around $400,000 to $415,000. But some of these homes here can definitely go up to $2 and $3 million. So it has a very, very laid back kind of a vibe to it, if you will, as evidenced by the Tarpon River Brewery, and the coffee house that's there. But it's a very, very laid back, kind of an easygoing type of place. Again, as we've said before, not to be missed is the seafood. It's a seafood restaurant, and just other things around here that just make
you mean the Pirate's Den?
Exactly. Thank you, sweetheart. And the other things around here, as you can see, it's very, very laid back. It has that old South Florida kind of a small town, beachy kind of vibe going to it, going around with it. It's a very, very nice area. We love it for a couple of reasons. Number one is because it looks so I won't say out of place, but it looks so different than everything else around here in Fort Lauderdale. The second thing is that it's a very, very walkable community. We'll come down here and sometimes on the weekend and just park the car and just walk around. If you want to go walk around, you can walk up to some of the areas you can see right here, some of the large boats that are being moored up here along the new river. You can see some of the folks that have had the older established homes here, folks out walking their kids. And it's a very, very eclectic, very diverse group of folks that live here. As I said, a lot of them have been here since the 50s and the 60s, and they love it so much they just don't want to move. And looking around and seeing what we can see. So if you've hung on this long to the video, why don't you go ahead and hit the like, and go ahead and hit the subscribe. So, in summary, we've covered the top 5 neighborhoods here in Fort Lauderdale, Victoria Park, Rio Vista, Coley Hammock, Tarpon Springs, Beverly Heights. So these are no particular order. Okay, these are neighborhoods that have come to us from folks that are looking to move down here, folks that live down here, and folks that have been doing their research as well as us doing ours. So again, if you like what you heard and saw in the video today, go ahead and give us a like. If you would, tap the subscribe button that way we'll let you know every time a new video drops. Okay, and until next time.